everyone, and welcome once again to another edition of Coffee and Sports for the Morning. I'm your host, Mr. William D. Morgan, and I have my brother from another mother right here, my man Mo Better. Mo Better, how you doing, brother?
Morning, Will. Morning, everybody that's joining us.
Yes, thank you for joining us here on Wire to Wire Sports. We do appreciate it for the morning show right here on Wire to Wire Sports. All right, man, let's go ahead and get right into it. Florida wins a third men's national title with the win over Houston, 65-63. That was a heartbreaker for Houston. Heartbreaker.
That was tough, especially since the way Houston was able to beat Duke in the last seconds of their matchup. It was a weird, almost karma like turn. You got to give credit to Florida. They were down, they were able to come back, get stops, and in a grinded out kind of game, they found a way to get the win. I would say this though: if you watch the game, first and second half, for me, the biggest issue I have with the game is in the first half they let them play. They let them
Mm-hmm.
play. Physical game, they let them play. But in a physical game, Houston's going to win that game 10 times out of 10, and they let them play. I would say the first half was 90s basketball, and then the second half was very much like today's NBA. There was a lot of free throws shot by Florida. There was a lot of fouls called. They called 25 fouls in the second half, and they were mostly on Houston. Like the way the game was called in the second half, it took Houston out of the game. It helped Florida get back in the game. I want to give credit to Florida, but at the same time, if you're an official, I need consistency from you. I need consistency in how you call the basketball game. They called two different games in each half.
I agree. We were on the air for most of it, but yeah, I did get a chance to see most of the first half and highlights of the second. And from what I saw, you're right. It was like a tale of two different halves.
Yeah, it changed everything because everything that Houston does is predicated on their ability to be physical, and I just thought they took that out of it.
Like I say, heartbreaking game, 65-63. Bednars are already saying that the two teams that are in the running for the 2026 title game, Duke and Houston once again.
Well, look, I college basketball plays out so differently than the NBA. I certainly think Duke's going to be there. They're very talented. Houston plays with such a narrow margin for error. I think they have a possibility of being back, but I wouldn't bet on it that we'd see that matchup again, especially not in the championship game.
Yeah, those are the two teams betting odds to lead the way to see those guys play in 2026. Your guy, we talked about him a little bit yesterday. He is a bad man. Walter Clayton Jr., named 2025 most outstanding player. Well deserved.
I think it is well deserved. He was the player to ultimately save this championship run. There were many times when they were down, when nobody could do anything, and Walter Clayton took over, hitting bucket after key bucket. Even last night, he didn't have his best shooting night, but with about a little bit over 3 minutes left, he made a monster three that
He
impacted
did.
the game. So again, I think it's well deserved. I think he's also raised his stock as a basketball player because honestly, coming into the tournament, I'd heard of him a little bit, but seeing him play, seeing what he can do, not just with his shooting, but off the bounce, he's got a bag. He's got a much more impressive offensive game than I thought he had coming in.
Had 11 points last night, 11 points, 7 assists. Only had 3 turnovers last night. So he did what he had to do. And he definitely was a contributing factor in that team getting the win. Um, let's go back, head over to the association now. Anthony Davis was in the news saying he has no emotions ahead of his first game versus LeBron and Luca on Wednesday against the Lakers. Do you believe him, Mo? Because there's just a part of me that's got to say he wants to stick it to those guys.
I don't believe him because look at his career, the arc of his career. He's been a great player from day one, but you won your first and only championship with the Lakers, right?
Yep.
Which raised your profile as a player. And the Lakers weren't a bad team when they traded him. They were right in the thick of things when they traded him. If you're Anthony, and there's no way Anthony Davis saw this coming, he was blindsided. So look, I think just as a human being, never mind as a player, when something like that happens, how does that impact you? Get into your psyche. Of course, he wants to play well against the Lakers. Of course, he wants to beat the Lakers. I'm sure he's saying things like it's just another game. There's no way it's just another game. It's certainly not just another game for Luka. The Lakers are going to be in the postseason. They're going to be competing for the right to maybe go to the NBA Finals. The Mavericks probably won't be in the playoffs. You can't tell me it's not emotional. The Lakers are in a better situation, and Luka's still for sure just as angry as AD. I have to believe that. So, look, I know it's in my Anthony Davis's heart. If he says it doesn't matter to him, he can say it, but I find that hard to believe.
Me too. Speaking of association, we only had 4 games last night in the NBA. We got the Pistons going down to the Kings, 127 to 117. Cade Cunningham with 35 points. Zach LaVine, 43.
Yeah,
Good
look,
Lord.
right, but isn't this typical Zach LaVine?
Yeah.
Right? The season's basically over, and people are getting excited because the Kings are trying to make a push to get into the play-in. And they've had plenty of time since they acquired Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan to make up ground and just out and out be in the playoffs. And they're not a good team. And Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan, who I'm a fan of both, especially their talents, but I've been consistent. There are certain guys in all of sports that are really, really good, but they're not good enough to be the guy. Zach LaVine, if you go on talent, Zach LaVine has top 10 talent easy, right? On pure talent, he makes things look easy. And yet there's something there. There's something missing to me in terms of him being a leader, in terms of him being the guy that steps up big when it matters most. I just don't think he's that guy, at least not in that role. I think the Kings they made a move because they thought they're going to lose Fox because they didn't want to pay Fox. But you bring in Zach LaVine, and this is a step down to me, not in talent, but in what you're going to get results wise. And DeMar's terrific. I think he's 34, 35. He's still terrific. But I think DeRozan would have more value if he were the third option or the first guy coming off the bench for a contender. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
At this stage of his career, he'd be more valued that way. On a team like the Kings that are in NBA purgatory, his talent it's useless on that team because he's a great player who can impact winning, but he's not good enough to uplift that kind of franchise. The same way as LaVine isn't good enough to uplift that franchise. I watched that game. It was entertaining. LaVine had 43. I believe DeRozan had 37. They combined for 8. That's great. But in the bigger picture, look at where they are in the standings. That's the Sacramento Kings in a nutshell. That's been the Sacramento franchise for more than a decade. They made a playoff run, what was it, the year before last?
Yep, year before last.
And got knocked out in the first round. But prior to that, they haven't been really relevant, like legitimate relevant, since the Chris Webber Sacramento Kings. That's a long time. It's a long time ago. So it was fun to watch. But if I'm a Kings fan, or I'm like, man, next year we're gonna have LaVine and DeRozan for the whole season. Look out, NBA! Like, look out for what?
Yeah, that Sacramento team. That was the last one. That was ages ago. Chris Webber, White Chocolate, Jason Williams.
You think it's a coincidence that
ages ago
that your Bulls got better when LaVine left? Like, if you look at Sacramento, they're kind of like the West version of your Bulls, but they're not as good as your Bulls. I don't think that's a coincidence. There are two consistent things involved in both situations, which is why you are where you are. Zach LaVine Zach LaVine, to me, in a lot of ways, is a different version of Bradley Beal, but they're very much similar in what they can do for you or not do for you.
Right. We got DeMar DeRozan last night chipping in for 37 points. That's 80 between the two. Good Lord.
Right. They got look again. They got buckets. They're both bucket getters, but again, third option, fourth option.
Yes.
The problem is on a mediocre team, first and second option. I rest my case.
Yeah. The Heat got a win last night against the Philadelphia 76ers, 117-105. Quentin Grimes, boy, he is playing. He has found a system that has really taken off. 29 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. I don't understand why the Mavericks gave up on him so fast.
Well, so the Sixers wanted to make the move because they wanted to save money. It was about money. And so they made the move. I said when the trade was made, with respect to Martin, Grimes was the better player.
Yes.
The younger and the better player. And he is. Now, did I know that Grimes had what he's shown us in his bag with the Sixers? I didn't know that. I knew he was the better player because they both came in with reputations of being 3-and-D guys. And yet, since he's been with the Sixers, given an opportunity, what I'm seeing from Grimes is he's saying, I can be a starter. Maybe not a star, but I can be a starter that can give you 18, 20 points a night and play great defense. I think the Sixers, they found another diamond in the rough accidentally because it wasn't like Daryl Morey was like, yo, Grimes, nice. Daryl Morey was thinking about saving money.
Right.
But yeah, I'm happy for Grimes because he's raised his profile and his value. I believe he's going to be a free agent. I'm not sure if he's unrestricted or not, but I know he's going to be a free agent. And I'm sure the Sixers plan on bringing him back. But what he's done is he's raised his profile. A lot of teams are going to look at him and go, let's go get Grimes. Grimes just made himself some money.
Oh yeah. And right now, Keith says he's auditioning for another team.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's facts. Look,
that's facts right there.
Because the Sixers, they don't have a lot of cap space, so I expect they'll try to bring him back, but we'll see.
Mo, we got a statement yesterday from rookie superstar Stephon Castle from the San Antonio Spurs. Says he's confident that he'll win the Rookie of the Year award. I ain't got no problem. And I know it's true, but should he be the one saying it?
We go back and forth a lot of times as fans as what do we like? We like confidence or cocky. I don't have a problem with him saying it. He's feeling cocky and confident about it. And I think he's played really well. Tell me the other rookie that's going to be over him. Like, who are you picking over Stephon Castle?
Nobody.
I don't see that rookie. So I don't have any problem with Stephon Castle saying that. I'm gonna go a step further. I think Stephon Castle is going to be a star in this league. I don't want to put a ceiling on all-star superstar, but I think he's going to be a legitimate star. I think he's going to make multiple all-star teams, and he's going to do it in a unique role because he may very well, when it's all said and done, be the third or fourth option on the Spurs and still be an all-star. Like he might remember when you get Wemby and Fox back, you're the third option at best. But what we can't forget is, what if the Spurs select Cooper Flag? I'm just saying you're the fourth option, but still you're going to be in a winning team. You're going to raise your profile. Not to mention, Castle's a dog defensively, so he can make his bones on both sides of the floor.
Yes,
so I love
so.
what he can do for you on both sides of the floor.
Very much so. Very much so. Good morning, Key. How you doing this morning? Appreciate you coming out to the stream. Thank you so much. You got Jury in chat. How you doing, Jury? Appreciate you coming out to the stream. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. That's a good point. I like that. He did get hurt, but yeah, that's a good point.
A little bit more interesting because Morey was going to make that trade anyway. So what you could have had is you could have McCain and Grimes on the floor at the same time.
You could have.
Although if you had them both on the floor at the same time, you would have won too many games to get a good draft pick. So,
yep. Yep, you keeping it a buck. You keeping it real.
So you kind of need it. You didn't want McCain hurt, but you didn't really want to keep playing him either.
Right. That's a good point.
Look at the injury when they announced that Maxey. What did they say that he had a pinky tear? It was something weird, like
something weird. Somebody I never heard of.
Look, it might be a real injury, but it was like there's injured, and then I don't want to play, or we don't want you to play. That seems like one of those. Yeah, we probably don't want you to play.
Yeah. she says at least I would have watched Sixers games this year.
Key, I'm disappointed. I still watch Sixers games, and just to be consistent, because the season's winding down. This is just for our good friend, the NFL genius. Still waiting on that 10-game win. Don't do my man
Gene like that. Don't do him like that.
Still waiting on that.
Don't do it.
I'm still waiting on that 10-game win streak.
Mo, don't do it. Don't do my man Gene. That's my dude. Oh man.
Maybe he's talking about the Sixers developmental team. Maybe he's talking about them going on a 10-game win streak. Yeah.
Oh man. That's just wrong. That's so wrong. Max, we had 6 games left. There's no point in playing them. It's just so true. This is so true. It's such a disappointment for that squad too. You have the heavier the expectations, the bigger the disappointment, and that's exactly what this is a case of.
I don't know. Sometimes if you're a GM, you have to have people that can talk to you and kind of like read the forecast.
Mm-hmm.
Joel Embiid is constantly injured. He stays hurt. He's not in the best condition. Paul George, coming off of a record season for Paul George, playing 73 games. That should have been a red flag, right? That should have been like, okay, that's a fluke season. That's not what Paul George is known for.
It's not indicative.
And Paul George didn't want to be a Sixer. He didn't want to be a Sixer.
He wanted to stay in LA.
Right. What he wanted was to get paid, but he didn't want to be a Sixer. So I don't even think he came there with his full heart and his full effort. And now you're stuck with that crater of a contract. I think the Sixers hopefully can get a high enough draft pick that it can impact the team. I hope, but I know I'm already going to be wrong on this, that Daryl Morey says, you know what? We need to let go and move on from Embiid. But they won't.
No, they won't.
You know what I mean? Daryl Morey won't make the tough call. He'll go, no, Joel is healthy. Paul George is healthy. We got Maxey back. Now we got Grimes. Now, you know what I mean? Like, he's going to go that route and make the same mistake again that he always does.
Let me go back here. Hold on. Tickets are $2 for the Hawks game. $2. $2. What? You mean to tell me you can go see Trick or Trey play for $2? What?
Wow. What's next? They're gonna start giving out hot wing dinners for attendance or something like that. Like, wow.
With the fee is $7.
$7. Hey, you know what though? They're down now.
Ooh.
Any franchise can turn it around. Certainly the Sixers can. But they have to be able to make some tough decisions that I'm not sure they have the right GM in place for that.
Dad, he says she don't want him either. So go on.
Right. I mean that's real. Like, I'm just saying, you could tell
that's real right there.
What Paul George wanted was the Clippers to go, no, we love you more. We'll give you the money. And the Clippers said, the Sixers are bidding against themselves. We're not even in it. It's not a bidding war. We didn't even make him an offer. It's not a bidding war at all. Like, and I don't think any other team was like, yo, Paul, we'll give you $235. No, nobody's giving Paul George at age 35 that much money. Nobody but Daryl Morey.
Amen. Say it one more time for the choir. Now, there was an ESPN report came out from Brian Windhorst that's saying that the Suns don't want to get rid of Kevin Durant. They don't want to trade him. That came out yesterday from ESPN through Brian Windhorst. What do you think about that report?
I think it's a If it's true, I don't understand the vision from the Suns front office. KD's 36, and he's great, but he's going to be 37. And you're bringing back Book, and you're bringing back Bill because you can't give Bill away.
Nope.
And you don't have a lot of cap room to make any meaningful moves. Why would you bring that back? You've seen what that looks like. I don't understand that at all. Look, I'll say this: they might plan on bringing him back. They might have decided we're not going to trade him, but I guarantee you he wants out.
My concern is the second apron. How do you keep him and not hit that second apron? How?
I mean,
that's what I'm trying to figure out.
He's under contract. He's not going any. I mean, they could keep him at least till the. I think he can't get out until the season after next. But my problem with Phoenix is there's no vision. They've put themselves in a position where they don't know what they're doing.
Right, no leadership.
You're going to keep Kevin Durant. James Jones made some bad trades, and now they're stuck.
Yeah. What's up, Kyle? How you doing, brother? Welcome to the stream.
Kyle made a great point. He literally laid it out. They want more of the same. So let's run it back with this team that's just good enough to barely miss the playoffs. Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's a lot of money being paid out to that roster, especially those top 3 or 4 players, to not even make the playoffs. I'm sorry. Here's the harsh reality. The numbers tell you that Kevin Durant is still a superstar. But when you watch them play, his impact, I'm talking about the impact that he has on games, is a lot less.
Yeah. Man, Mo, I just got a question. Handy dandy cell phone question. Wants to know from you, who needs another title more, LeBron or Steph?
Well, I don't think Steph needs it. And I hate going into this conversation. Steph doesn't need it because I think Steph's legacy is etched in stone. And as great as Steph is, look, only someone mentally ill would think that Steph Curry is the greatest player to ever play. Steph's incredible, and he's one of the greats.
Oh, yeah.
But I would argue this simple point that I believe. As great as Steph Curry is, at no point in his career was he ever the best player in the NBA. So he's not in that conversation. And when people say he should be in it, yeah, as a courtesy, but not like he could be the guy.
Right.
LeBron probably needs it more because he would tell you he's chasing another guy, right? He needs that 5th one. I would say the 5th. Look, I'm selfish as a Laker fan. I just want another one because it'd be great and we could tie the Celtics, right? My mind works that way.
Right.
I think LeBron would want the other one because the conversation would grow that much tighter, right?
Right.
Or I'll go another level. What if they not only win another title, but he's Finals MVP? He's clearly the best player in the series, especially when he's at the age that he's at.
Yes.
Maybe you can make the argument the conversation is a dead heat, and now more and more people might lean towards him. You can make that case, certainly. I think it means more to him. Look, they're both great players, and it would matter more. Here's the scary part: if Steph won 5th, and he were to be the Finals MVP. In a weird way, Steph winning that 5th, I think it closes the door on the other conversation. You feel me?
Yeah.
Steph. Yeah. Look, here's the thing: when you're the guy and it's your time, and you're putting your foot on the neck of everybody else, and you're the man, that's one thing. When you're the guy and there's another guy in your era that's eating as much as you or more than you, that's a completely different thing.
Real quick. Good morning, Cottrell. How you doing, brother? How you doing? Uh-oh. Cottrell says after the Thunder get bounced in the 2nd round, they should kick the tires on a KD trade.
So Cottrell thinks like me. Cottrell's got a brilliant mind. What I said this weeks ago.
You did.
I said, I don't care what the Thunder do in the regular season, but it would be beneficial to Kevin Durant if the Thunder come up short. Because if they come up short, I guarantee you it will be primarily because Jay Williams, and Chet didn't hold up their end of the bargain, right?
Yep.
You bring in a Kevin Durant as a second option to SGA. That's a completely different team because now I've got another guy that can help me close.
Right.
So I think Cottrell's thinking it's the reason why I'm not rooting against OKC, but there's something about them when I look at them. You tell me the Thunder or the field, I'm taking the field. I don't know if it's leadership or it's maybe a mental toughness hurdle. I don't think the Thunder are going to the finals. I don't care what any of the pundits say. They're just wrong. The Thunder are not going to the finals.
And on that note, how you doing, John? Welcome to the stream. We appreciate you, brother. Pelicans keep or exploit this and trade Zion to a team like Miami or the Hornets. They did trade Brandon Ingram, whatever. I think they were going to move him. And he's speaking of Zion. Do you think Zion's a bust?
I think that he's a bust if every season he's going to tease the fans and NBA fans around the world with 20 or 30 great games of being spectacular, and then the rest of the time he's in street clothes, right? That's kind of been his MO. So if we're talking about bust in the sense that he can't be an impactful player, he's not a bust. But if you're talking about a bust in terms of you cannot trust him to be your franchise player because he's not available, he's absolutely a bust. As far as Brandon Ingram getting traded, that was easy because Brandon Ingram was going to want the max. I'm not giving a guy like Brandon Ingram was a third option on a good team. I'm not giving a third option that kind of money. And plus, they have Trey Murphy, who I would argue is as talented, if not more talented, than Brandon Ingram. So Brandon Ingram was an easy move. Brandon Ingram has now gone to the Raptors, where they also have R.J. Barrett and Scotty Barnes. Mm-hmm. I said early in the season when they had Scotty Barnes, R.J. Barrett, and Emmanuel Quickly that if the three of them could stay on the court 45, 50 games, that the Raptors could probably get into the postseason. Now, obviously, they didn't make it, but they stayed injured all the time. But in the bigger picture, adding Brandon Ingram to that mix, look at that team. I've given you those names. Who's the number one option? If Scotty Barnes, because Scotty Barnes is probably the best player, but if he's your best player with his skill set and what he doesn't do, you're hurting.
You're hurting.
Because Scotty, I told people, watch Scotty Barnes' game. Watch his game and watch what he does. A lot of people don't watch Raptors games. Scotty Barnes is a more athletic Ron Artest. Now, that's not a bad player. That's a really good player.
Rob was good. In his heyday, he was good.
Right. Well, this is a more athletic version, but watching Scotty Barnes crab drill the ball and dribble out the shot clock and then make a decision is boring as hell to watch them play. Like Scotty Barnes should be somebody's second or third option, and the problem is he's Toronto's number one guy. And then you have to look at R.J. Barrett. You got to look at Brandon Ingram, and in a lot of ways, they're the same guy in terms of what they give you.
Yep.
So normally I would say Usai Ujiri is really smart. I think it was a dumb trade, but he'll learn that the hard way.
Cottrell asked a question. So was Grant Hill a bust?
I don't think Grant Hill was a bust, but remember this. Grant Hill was a 6-time All-Star before the injuries got him. He had a career, right?
Right.
Remember, that's
he did prove himself.
Right. Go back and look at Grant Hill. 6-time. He started off I think him and Jason Kidd shared Rookie of the Year, and then he was a 6-time All-Star. And then he had the ankle injury, and there was nothing but, struggles with his health or whatever. Zion does not have Grant Hill's resume. So where you're comparing a guy who's a legit star who carried a franchise to a guy that hasn't done anything.
He's saying that's what we're doing to Zion in this case. But as you said before, Zion doesn't have the resume right now.
But Grant actually had a resume. He had a career. Zion hasn't had nothing but highlights. If you only show up for 30 games a season, I don't think there's a comparison. Like the comparison with Zion would be Grant Hill on the other side of the first 6 years, right? When he went to Orlando and Phoenix, that would be a Zion comparison. But I'm talking about what he was before the injury, not the same.
Right. All right, Mo. Let's play a little bit of a game. We played one yesterday. Let's play a little bit of a game. Out of all the teams that I name out to you, which of the NBA's hold on. It's only been 5, 6 years. He's been an all-star already.
It's been 5 or 6 years. He's been an all-star. How many times? I believe it's once.
I think it
Is it
once,
once? Is it more than one time?
Once or twice.
Right. You're saying it's only been 5 or 6 years and he's been an all-star once. Grant Hill was an all-star 6 times in a row. Are we? Is this really the same thing? What are we talking about? Not in the same ballpark. But by the way, we just talked about him. Brandon Ingram's made an all-star team, but I don't feel confident calling him a franchise player.
Yeah. Now, out of all look game I want to play with you. Out of all I'm gonna name some of the NBA's biggest disappointments for the season. Which one do you think is going to be the most screwed in the future? I'm gonna start with I'm gonna go ahead and start bottom up. Number 7, the Orlando Magic. Number 6, the Philadelphia 76ers. Then we got the New Orleans Pelicans, the Miami Heat, the Sacramento Kings, the Dallas Mavericks, and the Phoenix Suns. Which one of those disappointments are the most screwed?
Future-wise, it's the Suns. I don't even think it's close. I think that even if the Sixers make the mistake of bringing Embiid back, bringing George back and saying we can make another run, they're going to get a pretty high draft pick if they can keep their pick. They've already found some diamonds in the rough in McCain. I love Yabasili.
Yeah.
Quentin Grimes. Really, right. Quentin Grimes has shown you what he could do. So they found some talent that they could go forward with. But the Suns, they're done. They are done. Even if they trade KD, it doesn't change the fact that they're done because you're not going to get a haul for a 37-year-old perimeter player.
Cottrell said, I'm not saying it's the same, but I'm just saying Bus used to be Kwame Brown and Anthony Bennett, not former All-Star guys.
Right. But if you had heard what I said when I first made my comment, I said, if you're talking about in terms of his talent and what he can do and what we see when he plays, no. If you're talking about his availability and him being the guy that can lead your franchise going forward, bust.
All right. Then for our game that we're playing, John picked Dallas and the Suns. Control said, how can it be the 76ers? They paid George and Embiid. That's why it's the 76ers, because they paid George and Embiid. Oh my goodness. Suns not even close. What is their future? Correct me if I'm wrong, Mo. Didn't they trade a lot of the upcoming draft picks in that KD trade?
That's why it's the Suns. They don't have a future.
They traded a lot of those picks away.
They can't even get better in the draft. The Sixers actually can still get better in the draft.
Right.
It's the Suns. They're done. They're finished.
They done.
Yeah. The Sixers, like I said, even if you try to run it back, you're still in better shape than Phoenix is.
Yeah. Well, I was watching Fox Sports yesterday. And I'm watching it for the basketball and the sports talk, not just for Joy Taylor. Paul Pierce says he's tired of Paul Pierce says he feels that the Boston Celtics are being disrespected. Come on, dude. Who's disrespecting the Celtics? You're the second best team in the East. Get out of here with that.
Yeah, I don't know where he's coming from with that. The Cavaliers obviously have the best record in the East. They might finish with the best record in the league, depending on how this week goes. But even with the Cavs being the number 1 seed, I still think it's the Celtics to lose. Right? They're the defending champs, and until the Cavaliers show me that they can play that high level basketball in the postseason and beat Boston, I still think the Celtics are the team to beat. I still have Boston, a healthy Boston, going back to the finals.
That's a Paul. That's a tough sell for me. That's a tough sell for me. You're the defending champion, second in the East, could be the best team in the East before all is said and done. Get out of here with that, Paul. Cottrell says at least the Suns have a top 15 player on the roster. They get more pick from the KD deal. people would be saying Lakers if they barely made the playoff. Ah,
I think that's fair.
yeah,
You can
yeah.
make the case for the Lakers, but if you look at the way the West is knotted up, you can say the same thing about the Nuggets. They might barely make the playoffs. Like they're I think there's the Nuggets are at 4. They could be 8 next
It
week.
could be. It
They could
could
be
be.
8 next week.
And that's crazy. That's crazy. And you beg someone to take Bill's contract. That ain't gonna happen. Celtics are the best team, are the team to beat for sure. Oh yes, sir.
I agree.
Wholeheartedly agree. Wholeheartedly agree.
I mean, maybe the Hornets would take Bill's contract. They're not run that great. Maybe the Hornets would take it.
Looking at the front office and the move they've made so far, I wouldn't doubt it. Crazy many teams would take Bam over Zion and Bill any day. Availability.
Yeah, look, Bam's a really good player, and he's a multiple-time All-Star.
I like Bam.
I do too. But what he is
on the small side, but
for playing the 5, right?
For playing the 5, yeah.
But he's not the kind of player that you build around, right? He's not that guy. He's really good, but he's not that guy.
Let me see no trade clause. Bill ain't going to ask you. He still we talked about it yesterday. I'm still trying to figure out why the Wizards did that.
Because it's the Wizards.
Yeah. Kyle said it only takes one delusional team to take Bill away.
There you go. I just called it out. I said the Hornets. They're gonna be like
one.
You're gonna have LaMelo. They're gonna be like, we got LaMelo and Bill in the backcourt. Look out.
And all it takes is Bill's permission. All he's got to do is say, "I'll waive it."
Right. Just by the way, in availability, LaMelo, not so much. That might just be a ball thing. Something about those ball guys, that family, they're not the most durable brothers.
Stop. You stop. Utah would do it.
I would disagree. Danny Ainge is actually pretty smart.
I don't think Danny would do that.
He would never.
And that would be terrible for Bill. Oh my goodness.
Cottrell brings up a good point. Look, Bradley.
Maybe a team like Dallas. They know Kyrie won't be back until next year.
Right.
That fits that GM's mold.
Look, Nico Harrison will do anything. Like
that man need to be fired. And I don't call for people jobs often, but that man need to be fired.
I think, and Kyrie's not going to be back till maybe the second half of next year, right?
Yep.
And even then, we don't know if he's going to be 100%. So if you could plug in a Bradley Beal, who can still get you 20 a night, even again, I'm not the biggest fan, but I can see Nico Harrison pulling the plug on that.
I can see that happening too. I really could.
I really could. These are desperate times. If you're a Dallas Mavericks fan right now, you're hoping that you have the draft capital to go out and get somebody in the draft.
All right. Let's go ahead and keep moving on. I want to get your thoughts on John Morant's and this gesture controversy he's got going on. Apparently, the warning didn't work. He ended up doing it again. What are your thoughts on John Morant and this gesture controversy?
So I feel like the league, look, they've kind of the fact that you can legislate or punish guys for gestures. I get it. You don't want obscene gestures out of your players. I'm with that. I agree with that 100%. What I need from John Morant, if I'm the Memphis Grizzlies, you can celebrate, man. You like to wolf and talk, do that, but I need more maturity out of you because I need you to be a leader. And I'd rather you be a leader than feel like, well, I'm going to go back and forth with the commissioner. That's a battle you can't win. You can't win that. And I feel like Adam Silver has more than been patient and given John Morant the benefit of the doubt. The fact that he only fined him, that was a courtesy. That was a kindness.
Yep.
Easily.
Amen.
Could have been a suspension, which probably would have crippled the Grizzlies season. I'm just saying, look, as a fan, I would like to see John Morant be more invested in doing for his team. instead of showing out and being for himself, right? It's not necessary. It's not needed. I like what Cottrell said. He's an idiot. However, the league is out of hand. I do agree that, right? When you're going to start saying what is or isn't or how guys celebrate, I agree with that. I agree that both sides are at fault. I think Ja's more at fault because he's kind of asking for this back and forth, and it's not necessary. His sole purpose, his sole focus should be on helping his team win games.
I agree. And hopefully he gets it together at some point. Ja's an idiot. However, the league is out of hand. Don't find Ja and then let everyone else in the league do it. That's a good point too. Does it speak to the need of a strong vet in that locker room? Yup.
It does.
Yup.
It does. And guess what? They had a strong vet in the locker room, but the problem was that strong vet had a big contract and he wasn't really playing well. And that was Marcus Smart. It does speak to the need of a veteran leader who can sit with Ja, have a conversation and go, hey man, let's focus on winning these games, putting ourselves in a better position going into the postseason. Having that conversation. Remember, we're talking about him versus the league. I would love to find out more about the situation that led to the coach being fired.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm not saying that was a John Morant thing, but I would have to believe in some way he's part of that. Yeah. Right? If your star player is like, yo, the coach is my guy. What are you doing? Don't move the coach. My guess is the coach doesn't get moved. The coach gets moved. You didn't hear Josh say nothing. He was good with it, right?
Mm-hmm. He didn't speak out.
So look, I think right now Memphis, it's weird going into the postseason to be in kind of disarray between management and your locker room and your star player. I think if their head's not right, it wouldn't shock me if the Grizzlies get knocked out in the first round.
Me neither. Going over to the NFL for a real quick second. There's a rumor out there that the Jets look to be moving running back Breece Hall. Look like they have him on a trade block. Mo, what teams do you think should take interest on their star running back?
I think Dallas should take interest in Breece Hall. I think Breece Hall is a really good running back. He did have a horrific injury, came back. He still has that burst. I don't know if he can make people miss the way he used to, but he still has that burst. So he has value. He would fit perfectly in Minnesota's system that actually highlights the running back coming out of the backfield. He's actually a good receiver.
He is. Any
offense that puts the running back in a position to play in space, which, by the way, would also be the 49ers, is an offense that would be in need of a Breece Hall. And I don't know what his value would be in terms of his pricing, but I think there's a few teams. I think Cincinnati could use a Breece Hall.
Yeah.
It's weird to say. I know they've put a ton of money into the wide receivers and obviously the QB. But I think it's crazy the way the teams hit the panic button that fast. Like the Jets are kind of loaded. If you look at them on both sides of the football, they're kind of loaded.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that we were unsure of is the quarterback position. Breece Hall's so young. It's weird that you're giving up on him or you're ready to move on from him this early in his career. But the Jets do Jets things. So
Jets do Jets things. That would help Ja because he's had Adams there. That's a good point too. Let me see. Just wants to be running back by committee type of team. I hate the fact that we went to that running back by committee. I hate the fact that we did that because, back in the day, you had your bell cow running backs. Now you're doing this committee stuff and it's not the same. And it's devalued the running back position.
To a degree. But I think the league and where the league went sort of devalued the running back position because the league is more prominent on passing, right? It is the quarterback's league now. And even
more of a passing league.
Right. And even if you got a terrific running back, if you don't have a quarterback, you're probably not that good a football team. There was a time, if you go back into the 80s and 90s, that your quarterback could be okay, but if you had a great running back and a great defense, you were still you were still one of the top teams in football.
Yes.
That formula, I think that's gone. I would not. I'm not saying it's impossible, but the day that I see another running back have 300 carries, they have a dominant defense, and the quarterback can manage the game, and that team win. I don't know if you can do that in today's football.
What's the last one we see do that? DeMarco Murray.
I mean, and get into the playoffs. I think Tennessee did it a couple times with Derrick Henry. They got to the playoffs because who was the quarterback again? I can't remember his name, but he was okay.
Ryan Tannehill.
Tannehill was okay, but he was okay because you hand the ball off to Derrick Henry. The 49ers believe in the value of the running back, but they want to pass the football. They want to throw the football. They want to have a balance.
They do.
C-Mac special.
This would be morons if they actually drafted Genty. Yeah, they would be. They would be. Ooh, John, good one. Brees Hall to the Titans. Hey, that wouldn't be a bad move. That wouldn't be bad for them. That won't be bad for them. They just need to get their receiver situation straightened out. And what you spoke on earlier. Don't see it was noticeable. It really was. And then you let Jordan Mason go on free agency to the Vikings.
But C-Mac was also the other side of C-Mac, as great as he is, he's banged up a lot, right? That's part of the McCaffrey experience. He actually makes my point because as great as C-Mac is, he's not the kind of running back that can carry the ball 300 times.
Yeah,
he can't. He's not built like that, and you don't want him to. Not in today's football. He's not that guy. What you want him to get a lot of touches, but you don't want it to. It could be through screens and bubble screens and things of that nature. But you don't want. I don't think you want any running back in today's football carrying the ball 300 plus times.
No. Pairing Brees with Pollard sounds nice, but I doubt it. Because it makes too much sense, Jerry. It makes too much sense.
But aren't they almost like the same guy? They're both really quick running backs that make you miss in space. Neither one of them really runs between the tackles like that.
Yeah. But it is, like Cottrell just said, it is a very deep running back class this year. So very deep running back class this year. So we'll see.
I know, which is why I'm surprised that Jim Harbaugh spent money on Najee Harris, but whatever.
Jerry ain't paying a bag of Skittles for Brees. Oh man. They got Tajay Spears too. That's true. I like Spears.
I like Spears too.
I like Tajay Spears. I like him. Change the pace back. I like him. All right, you guys. We got about 10 minutes left to go here on Coffee and Sports in the morning, right here on Wire Sports. Mo, I'm gonna finish up with 2 wrestling topics. And then we're gonna get on out of here for the night. First one, I know you watched SmackDown the other night with her promo with Tiffany Stratton. What is wrong with Charlotte? And I get it. You're just getting back. It might take a little bit for you to get back in use of cutting a promo and things like that. But that promo on her end, and I think for Tiffany Stratton to be able to throw her off her game with her pending divorce or her divorce, it really threw her off kilter for that promo. It can happen to the best of us, but this is Charlotte we're talking about.
It was tough to watch. It wasn't anything that Tiff Stratus said. I thought it was more the fans. I thought every time she tried to do her part in the promo, they wouldn't let her. I think they messed up her cadence. You know what I mean? Like, every time she opened her mouth, they shut her down. And
there you go, Key. Hey, Cottrell. There you go, Key. There you go. That 03 comment got him. It got her. It struck her. That had to be it.
No question that struck her. But I think the fans were killing her, right?
Yeah.
They were giving her the Dom treatment. She was trying to, and they would not let her go. They were just throwing her cadence off. And if I was Charlotte, I would have deviated from the playbook. She's already the heel. The promo would have been better had at some point she just said, "Let's forget about me running my mouth. Let me just attack her," right? Something like that, right? That would have elevated the promo better had she attacked her versus her still trying to talk, because the fans were ripping her up, and then Tiff hit her with the 0-3, and then at the very end, she was like, she tried to throw something back at her, but it carried no weight when she said,
because it was the promo was over at that point.
It was over, and she said Kaiser's in my DMs or something like that. That was way too late.
Yep. Way too late.
It was a bad promo, but to be honest, I thought it was a bad promo on both sides. I just thought it didn't have any energy. The crowd was with Tiff. Tiff had more ammo to throw at her, but it was just weak.
Yeah. You're right, Key. You're right. You're absolutely right. Her job was to put Tiffy over, and that's it.
It is, but she could have done a better job. That promo was so bad, they're gonna have to cut like another promo to like erase that promo.
Gotta go back and edit it.
Yeah, look, real talk. How do you get over something like that? My guess is she's gonna attack Tiff in the back or attack. It's gonna have to be something like that to kind of raise the heat level back up on that match.
Yep.
Oh, and is it me? Is it just me? Does Charlotte Flair look different? And I'm not throwing shots. I'm simply saying she looks different.
I'll throw a shot. You don't have too much prep. You don't have too much plastic surgery.
I did not say that word.
I'll do it.
I'll do
it. I ain't scared. Look, Mo, you know me. I ain't scared.
She looks different.
I speak my truth. I ain't scared, Mo. I ain't scared. She didn't have too much. And then if you go back and look at her too, my only concern with her, has she lost? Does it look like she's lost a little too much weight to you?
Yeah, so that was the other part that I was talking about. Like, she's still toned, but she looks really skinny.
Yeah.
Like I'm used to Charlotte Flair being toned, but having a little bit more form to her. She looked. I don't want they're best. That's not what I'm simply saying. She looked like she's lost a little too much weight.
Yeah.
And I don't think she needed to lose weight to begin with, but
she was finding where she was.
Right. And maybe what she's doing, maybe why she's lost the weight is to help out with the injury, right? Because maybe carrying less weight. I get all that. She just looks different. That's all I'm pointing out. She looks different.
Yeah. I'll call it. My comments are mine and mine alone, not represent or indicative of Wire to Wire Sports Style. My comments and my own comments, doggone it. I'll call it out. I don't care. What's she gonna do? All right. Let me see real quick. They're saying she came back too small. Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah. Just a little too small. Charlotte should have went full John Cena and just start trashing all the fans.
Yes.
That's
Cottrell hit it right on the head. She should have went all out and started trashing the fans, giving them that work. That would have been better. She should have just went Maniac Cena style and came at the fans. That would have been a better promo. Because had she come at the fans, then Tiff would have caught the hint, and Tiff would have been the one defending the fans, right?
Yeah.
That would have
been better.
Much better, right?
That would have been better.
So my guess is their next promo, that's exactly what she's done.
Yep, I agree. Real quick too, when you can, talk about the Clubhouse dropping on Netflix. We talked about that on a sports report last night. It's a series that's dropping on Netflix today. It follows the Red Sox during the 2024 season. Durant also talks about a struggle with mental health and suicide. So definitely you guys go check that out. Mental health is important, especially among men. So definitely go check that out. It's so important that we as men make sure that we stay in our top-notch shape and not struggle with mental health. And this can help you with that. So definitely go check out the Clubhouse. Drops on Netflix today. Definitely go check it out. See, maybe she needs to. Good one, Cottrell. Good one, man. Good one. You talk about me taking shots. Look at this.
Cottrell's on one today. I got nothing.
Oh man. All right. Last point. One more thing I did want to bring up that I saw today. Going through a couple of issues. Your greatest wrestler of all time.
That's a tough one. I think John Cena has a case. I've always thought Triple H has a case. I don't know. Look, I can tell you my favorite wrestler is all time, but the greatest wrestler of all time, I feel like because of the way wrestling is, that's a moving target. I would have told you that Hulk Hogan is the first wrestling superstar. Or let me rephrase that. He's the first wrestling megastar. So you can only be one first. But I think originally though, Ric Flair was the first superstar.
I get you.
Like Ric Flair carried wrestling before it got old. I mean, it was popular, but I mean it was more regional. I think it was ultra. Oh no.
LA Knight.
Oh
yeah.
So this must be shots day because everybody in the chat's got shots.
Hey,
it is not that. It is. I don't know who it is, but it's not that guy.
Hey, I know some people who go your way. I know some people who go to Ric Flair. I know a couple of other people who go Bret Hart. I know a couple of other people who are more contemporary and might say somebody like a Stone Cold, for example, who's newer to more modern day wrestling and didn't see back in the day, per se. But yeah.
I think Stone Cold might be considered one of the greater stars, right? Like everybody he was the ultimate heel while not being a heel, but he wasn't a face either. Stone Cold lived in that gray area and people loved him for it.
Oh yeah.
But I think the greatest wrestler to be, if I'm going to say right now today, I still think it's Ric Flair. I think it's Ric Flair. Yeah. Hogan was a bigger star, but he would never. He wasn't a wrestler.
Ooh, it's Taker, and not even close.
A lot of people
believe that too. Yeah.
I love Taker, but and Taker's got his body of work is amazing. But if you've never seen Ric Flair in his prime, then you wouldn't say Taker.
Hey Rudy, how you doing, man? Before we get on out of here, just want to thank you for coming out to the stream, man. Rudy, right here. How you doing? How you doing, bro? 1 and 2, Rick, and then Taker. I understand you.
Yeah, I have no problem with that, Key. That's where I'm at. I think Ric Flair was amazing. Like if you've never seen him, go to YouTube and look up Prime Ric Flair. There's no shortage of videos of what Ric Flair could do.
All right. Rudy says he may root for LSU, but he has SEC pride. There you go.
Respect.
Then Florida Gators. All right, Mo. We're at the conclusion of our time for the day here on Coffee and Sports in the Morning on Wire to Wire Sports. Why don't you go ahead and take us out?
Hey, thank you guys so much for joining us this morning. Make sure you check out all the great content we have at Wire to Wire Network. Wire to Wire Network. We appreciate you guys.
Before we go. You got a good point on Sean. Good point on Sean.
I like that Cottrell threw in Shawn Michaels. To me, Shawn Michaels is the Steph Curry of wrestling.
Yeah. He's got a good point. And then Tony, again, take a performance from beginning to end, and he's better than Flair in the wing. I don't know about young Flair.
Yeah.
I don't know about old Flair. I don't know.
Not young Flair, because young Flair had Iron Man matches all the time. Taker can't go 40+ minutes.
And remember, proof to what Mo is saying. Go back and watch those Flair Steamboat matches from back in the day. Ooh, wait. What Ricky Steamboat could be on that list too. All right, I just want to say thank you for everybody coming out here on the morning show right here on Wire to Wire Sports Network. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you again tomorrow right here. Say bat time, say bat channel for Coffee and Sports in the morning on Wire to Wire Sports. Everyone have a fantastic day.